I've been very fortunate from a banking standpoint. I've been in banking since graduating from college back in 1986. I had the fortunate opportunity back then to start with a de novo bank. And from 86 to 91, I did that. And what I mean by de novo bank is a new bank. And with a new bank, if you know anything about community banking or a new organization, you wear many hats. So at that time, I had the opportunity to learn everything. From commercial lending to construction lending to mortgage lending, you name it, asset-based lending, I was able to learn it all. And from that point, I had the opportunity to springboard to another community bank in Baltimore, an old community bank of 110 years old that wanted to start a commercial lending unit. So I had the opportunity there to start that and run that commercial lending unit for 10 years. I was very successful, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun creating it. So from that point, the organization decided to make a switch at the top, and they promoted me to be president of the bank, and that was in 2001. And from 2001 to 2013, I ran the bank. And then somewhere in 2011, 2012, whenever the Great Recession was finally dying down, I think everybody was tired. And unfortunately, you don't want to be the person that sells a 120-year-old bank. But we were put in the position at that time that it was time to move on. So from there, I had the opportunity with a community bank in Baltimore again. There's a theme to all this. My entire career has been with community banks. I had an opportunity at that time to start a mortgage company for a high-growth community bank in Baltimore, Howard Bank. And I did that for 5 years, and it was wildly successful. We were able to do about $3 billion in that 5 years, which was great. And then I took some time off. Had an opportunity to do some consulting and start up a bank in Oklahoma. So I was doing some consulting for a trust and custodian company out of Las Vegas that purchased a bank in Oklahoma. So I walked it through that process. And then after that, I decided maybe I shouldn't get back into banking. Maybe I should do something different. So Baltimore Community Lending called. And they're a nonprofit organization, a mission-driven organization that focused on individual of color businesses in Baltimore City. And they were looking for a chief operating officer. So I did that for about 6 months, and that was extremely rewarding. was able to help a lot of organizations, also help Baltimore Community Lending organize their organization as well. Extremely rewarding. And then I thought I would stay there forever. I thought I would end up my career there. And then I got a call that there was a position open at a community bank in Chestertown, which I didn't know anything about. So I made a phone call and interviewed a couple times with directors, and they decided to offer me the position as president and CEO. Very humbling to be selected first off. I couldn't be happier from that standpoint, and I am humbled, and I thank the directors for that. But this is a true community bank. This is local. This is everything you want to be from a community bank standpoint. And it's wonderful. And I've been here for a month, and I'm getting to know people. Extremely friendly community. Challenging times because of the pandemic and everything, but extremely welcoming and friendly community. And everybody's been so helpful. But that's one of the perks of the job. Just to get to know people and have that friendly atmosphere. You know, I'm not used to this type of atmosphere. I come from somewhat of a more metropolitan area, and it's really refreshing, really is. Well, first off, I think community banks are there to support the community, whether it really doesn't matter from what level you stand on. We're here to support the community. So is there opportunities for community banks to create products that would satisfy the low to moderate income households? Absolutely. We do it all the time. Community banks are notorious, all banks are, for passing a test called the Community Reinvestment Act, or it's an act that we're judged on, and that is basically what we do within the community. Now here at Chestertown, some of the things that my predecessor has done, not from a lending standpoint, because I'm not familiar from a lending standpoint yet, but from an organizational standpoint and being involved in the community, is United Way, for example. He was firmly involved in United Way. Being involved in that side of the community, there are nonprofit organizations that banks would invest in to lend money to organizations. And that's another way of getting the money out on the street and to help organizations. At Baltimore Community Lending, we had a black woman that was our executive director. Prior to that, they had a white male. She was there for, I guess, 8 months before I showed, actually 6 months before I showed up. In this period of time that I was there, approximately 6 months, because of her, we were able to raise $1.3 million in grants and about $15 million in lending capital. That lending capital all came from banks. So the banks are eager to get money out on the street to help the underserved and the underprivileged. Extremely eager.
That's cool.
I'm here in interesting times, not only from a COVID standpoint, but just what's going on in our country. It is very interesting times. The bottom line is everybody's equal. It doesn't matter who you are, what you look like, everybody's equal. And we have to get to that point that everybody realizes that. And I think we're making progress. I like to be optimistic about that. I think we're making progress.